Chapter 16. Public Choice. Public Choice Overview. One useful way of understanding the role of government is to think of the economy as a kind of game, which initially involves two major groups of players: consumers and producers. The players pursue their own self-interests, consumers attempt to maximize utility, and producers attempt to maximize profit. Economic coordination in a market economy hinges on players' ability to secure the rights and obligations of property as well as to enforce contracts. Kinds of games. Positive-sum game: a game in which total winnings exceed total losses. Zero-sum game: a game in which total winnings just equal total losses. Negative-sum game: a game in which total losses exceed total winnings. Public choice in direct democracy. Median voter model. Under certain conditions, the preference of the median, or middle, voter will dominate other public choices. Log rolling. Vote trading on preferred issues. Voter A supports voter B's pet project as long as B supports A's pet project. Representative democracy. Rational ignorance. A stance adopted by voters when they find that the costs of understanding and voting on a particular issue exceed the expected benefits of doing so. In a world where information and the time required to acquire and digest it are scarce, consumers concentrate on private choices rather than public choices because the payoff in making wise private choices is usually more immediate, more direct, and more substantial. The impact of legislation. Special interest legislation: legislation that generates concentrated benefits but imposes widespread costs. Competing interest legislation. Legislation that imposes concentrated costs on one group and provides concentrated benefits to another group. Rent-seeking. Participants in the political system employ legislation that increases their wealth, either through direct transfers or through favorable public expenditures and regulations. Resources that are employed in an attempt to get government to redistribute income or wealth are unproductive because they do nothing to increase output and usually end up reducing it. Underground economy. The portion of the economy that evades taxes and so is not directly measured by government statisticians. Bureaus. Government agencies charged with implementing legislation and financed by legislative bodies. Since public goods and services are not sold in free markets, government bureaus receive less consumer feedback. Because of differences between public and private organizations. In the owner's ability both to transfer ownership and to appropriate profits, we expect bureaus to be less concerned with satisfying consumer demand and minimizing costs than private firms are.